Across the foot.
I mean, it's just another goal. It just had to be kicked.
Look at that. And you were ready for the invasion?
Yeah, well, luckily there was quite a few security guards there. They got out pretty quick and just formed a circle there. So it's just good for the people of Sydney to be able to do that. It's a tradition that's been going on for quite a long time now. I don't see any reason why that should stop. I don't think there's any harm in it.
Well, there's one reason. Ron doesn't like it.
Look, now, let's get this straight.
All right.
You must have it often said to you now, or you think to the person questioning you as a Polly, now, hang on, I didn't say that exactly.
Right.
You must say that exactly.
No, you were upset about them coming on too early, weren't you?
Yeah, twice.
At Geelong.
Yeah. I mean, goodness gracious me. So it made a bit of a joke of it. No, I reckon it's fantastic.
Were you tempted to jump the fence yourself and run out last week?
No.
No.
Sorry, Tony.
That's all right, Ron.
I would have had to come down the stairs. By the time I got there, it would have been all over.
He would have spilled his glass of Chardonnay.
Yeah. And so it must have been terrific to get it over and done with early in the game too.
Yeah, it was. I didn't plan on kicking it. I mean, obviously it was lovely to kick him on Sunday, but if it had happened the week later, well, so be it. But the main emphasis on the day was to make sure we won the game, the contest, and I really do think we come into some real good form late in the game, and it's just good to know that all the boys are really starting to get ready for the final series, which is only just round the corner.
Now, Tony, you and I would think that you try to get into the same groove every set kick you have. Is that it's like a professional golfer preparing for the putt? You do the same thing each time you repeat. Is that the pattern you? Yeah,
for sure. I've got myself into a routine that I try and keep pretty much the same every time I line up for goal. Obviously, with the weather conditions and the wind, you can change it around a little bit. But basically, I like to go back and virtually do the same things for the whole way. I put the ball down, I pull my socks up, get my breath back, and start focusing on putting it through the big ones.
Do you pick a target behind the goals?
On a good calm day, I virtually aim at the goal umpire. My theory is that he stands in the middle of the goals. That's been proven wrong by Ron. But I always aim at the goal umpire and just try to kick it over his head. He gets in a direct line with me behind the mark, and that's the target I pick out. For many years down at Geelong, at Kardinia Park during the 60s, when Doug Wade was playing full forward, a policeman called Basil Coughlin, who sadly passed away just recently. Basil was stationed behind the goals of the river, and you might even recall this, Ron, from your days going down at Geelong. And Wadey used to aim for the policeman's hat because he knew Basil was right behind the goals in the middle of them, rather than the goal umpire who might move to get on an angle. And Basil used to actually mark them all. Wadey would just kick them to him and they'd go back to the middle.
There are some criticisms from people outside football that full forwards don't seem to practice enough. Do you think that's a legitimate criticism? Oh,
I think everyone's an individual in that case, Ron. I think, some blokes obviously practice a lot more than others. I believe I've put in quite a bit of practice over the years. I've been playing footy for a long time now, and although I do think I practice a lot more in my younger days than what I do now. I don't get out there for an hour after training every night and practice. I believe if I'm kicking well for goal, I might have half a dozen shots before training and after training, and that's about it for me during the week.
Now, last year you kicked 26 goals straight. No one knows whether this is a record or not, but one would imagine it was. I mean, it was just sensational, particularly the exhibition out at Whitten Oval against Fitzroy, and it was a reasonably windy day, and a lot of them for an angle. When you're not kicking well, how do you go about changing that into kicking straight again?
Well, I don't think, it's a little bit hard. As I said, everyone's different. When I'm kicking bad for goal, I do put in more practice, obviously, but it's something I try not to worry about too much. I wouldn't want to get to the stage where I've got to mark 35 or 40 metres out from goal and I started to worry about the kick. Was I going to kick this, the goal? I don't think you should get yourself into that situation where you're sort of half panicking. You've got to be confident when you go back and kick for goal, and you can't kick them all. There are going to be times when you have a bad day, whether it be the wind or whether it be the wet ball or just a bad day. So you've got to be able to put them things aside. Every time you get the ball, it's a different situation, and if you miss one, well, although you're disappointed because it's you've got to finish off the hard work from all the teammates much up the field. But you know, you just got to get on with the next one and just make sure you thread it. And
one of the reasons why you are getting plenty of chances to kick for goal is a fella called Paul Kelly just keeps kicking it to you, Plugger.
Yeah, well, you know, I've got nothing but admiration for this fellow. I honestly think he's the best footballer going around at the moment. And
he placed that beautifully then.
The way he goes about applying himself, his dedication, his desire to get the ball or to chase the man with the ball is unequal as far as I'm concerned. It's just a great pleasure to play footy with such a fantastic player.
And his delivery is just fantastic, isn't it? I mean, some people have criticised him in the past for that, but
yeah, well, I think
this year.
I think he certainly has improved. You know, a couple of years ago he might not have been quite as good as he is now, but let me tell you, it's just come through because of hard work that he puts in, not only during a game but every day that he fronts up to training. You know, he's just nothing but 110%.
And it's not just the accuracy of those kicks too, just looking at those ones there, is the weight of the kick. You can make it just sort of float perfect to you so that you'll run to the spot and all. Yeah,
and you know, believe it or not, he can kick the ball quite a long way too. So I mean, he's very versatile. He you know, he's worked hard on his skills the last 2 years, and a Brownlow medal was just reward for the amount of work that he does put in.
Tony, just the length of kick. If you're say 55 metres out, do you ever think you go for the torp for that extra distance?
I have before, Brass. I think you know, given if you've got to change to a torpedo punt kick, if you can, you're probably better off giving the ball off to a bloke in a better position.
So what if you can't do that?
If you can't do that, well, you know, and all avenues are exhausted, well, obviously you're going to have to go back and you know, try and thread it through with a barrel. But in my situation, if I couldn't get a kick off, or I could get a kick off, I would certainly pass the ball to a fella, or attempt to pass the ball to a fella in a better position.
Well, there's something you can do for us before the year's out, Plug. If you get a chance in the remaining 3 games and you're 10 up and the game's over, and you're 50 out, just unload a torp for us.
I want to do a drop kick.
Oh, do you? Oh, even better. Even better. Well, actually, we might be able to get some odds on that. And